Hey, welcome to the Cam and Otis Show. This week, good friend of mine, my favorite phrase to say, by the way, good friend of mine, Miss Charmin Rickards, Navy vet and founder of Teachable, Learnable Solutions, and a great partner in crime too, if you're looking for one. And by the way, I mean crime in a good way, in a fun way. Charmin, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Otis, and Cam. Um, it's just such a pleasure to be here with you guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Looking
well,
forward to the
Charlie,
conversation.
I want to jump into one of my favorite veteran questions is where and or when did you get that call that you being a Navy vet get that call to walk down to the recruiter's office?
Oh, wow. I didn't actually get the call. Let's see. My cousin was in the Army, and
I
he was
like
with
him. I like him.
82nd. Yeah, I know you would. He was with 82nd Airborne,
Liking
and
him more.
yeah, back during the Gulf War. And one, he looked good in that uniform. That uniform was sharp and he wore it with pride. So at the time I was at Delaware State University on a basketball scholarship, was really struggling academically to have that focus that you need to be a student athlete and manage your time, and also first time away from home and the social life. So he said to me, he said, Charm, they give you, one, they're gonna educate you, they're gonna give you a place to stay, they're gonna give you clothes to put on your back, they're gonna feed you, and oh, by the way, you get money. And so if you come in and you don't have a lot of debt, you're able to build on that. And he says, well, I would advise you to go either in the Air Force or the Navy. And so, as you know, I went into the Navy, didn't really know what I wanted to be. At the time, I was an early childhood education major because I thought, at the time they needed more minority women in the classroom. And so I figured, hey, that's a field that a lot of folks weren't in. But of course, I couldn't do that in the Navy. So they said, hey, we got the best program for you. Oh, the best program for you. You can
Yeah.
come in undesignated and you can do OJT. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to be an airman. And thank God I was. I wasn't a seaman or a fireman. So that meant I went to a VP6 out of Barbers Point, Hawaii, and went to Misawa, Japan on my first deployment. I was working in what they call the first lieutenant division. I called myself the glorified janitorial services, where I would clean up after, the spaces, because we didn't have contractors to come in and clean up those spaces. So that was what the first lieutenant division did until you went to the yellow gear, which is the moving the airplanes and aircraft around.
Okay.
And
Let me
so
stop you there because I think you hit on something that most people don't understand, and I'm guessing that's what it is. The yellow gear, meaning the uniform that you actually wore on the ship, right?
well, it was well, actually, I wasn't on a ship. I was with the a squadron, a P3 Orion squadron. So we were on land for the
Okay.
most part. So yellow gear is the gear that moves, that you use in order to work on the aircraft. So you would have to move it, like if you needed to paint the ship, not the ship, but the aircraft, then you would be moving the yellow gear. If you needed to take the aircraft out of the hangar bay, you was on the yellow gear. I didn't get to that stage because we decommissioned. So I never had an opportunity to strike outside of serving the air crew some meals during the different op tempos that they were doing. So we went from just chili and rice and boring hot dogs to more healthier food, lasagna, things of that nature. So I was able to get Airman of the Quarter for those efforts. Then an A school, and became a hospital corpsman. Not something that I thought that I would ever be, because I didn't like needles, didn't like blood, just didn't think myself as that. But the one thing, the mindset that I had is that you make the best out of whatever situation that is presented to you. And so, okay, I'm a hospital corp now. I got to take care of people. And so I'm going to make them feel good, right? If they're in the hospital, they got TED hoses on and, you know, pre-COVID and anything else, you take the TED hoses off and you rub that human touch, right? Rubbing their legs with that Carry lotion, that watery Carry lotion you get in the hospital. You know, just caring for them like how you would want to be cared for if you were in that position. So I took that mindset and went with it.
Was that from when you were a kid, you know, that caring for them as you want to be cared for? I mean, that doesn't, not everybody has that walking around in their pocket.
Well, I think it just came from, you know, young in the military and saying, okay, well, how would I want to be cared for, or how would I want my parents to be cared for if they were in this situation and someone else was caring for them, right? As a healthcare professional, so me as a healthcare professional, I want to ensure that I care for them. And I would always tell my corpsmen that I led, look, I want you to take care of them better than what you would take care of your parents, because I don't know how your relationship is with your parents. So you got to take it, you know, better than what you would do for your parents, right? So that meant they would
be careful with that phrase, right?
Right, it would up a level, you know, kick it up a notch. But just with that, just having that mentality, or just, you know, again, it was during the time when we were, the Haitians were coming over, and, you know, I don't speak their language, but I can definitely care for them. Didn't know at the time why we were doing what we were doing. Why am I taking care of these refugees, right? But at the end of the day, that was what we were there for. And that's where my foundational work of leadership and development came in, and of course, a little bit of that has come from sports, being in the sports as well, right? So,
You know, I'm kind of curious. You're talking about with the Haitians coming over and working with the refugees there. Is that a kind of lesson that you've carried forward about doing something and understanding, you know, trusting the process, really? This is something good that needs to be done. I don't fully understand what's so good about it right now, but I know that I can do my part playing it forward. Is that a lesson that you took out of that situation?
well, you know, you just, in the military, right? You're told what to do, right? So, and later I learned what as healthcare professions, as the USNS Comfort and Mercy, we are advocates, if you will, like outreach, right? Good news story ambassadors for the military. So, you know, if the USNS Comfort was out there, you know, supporting, and they're come alongside, there are these refugees. We have a right as healthcare professions to take care of those that are in need, right? And so, you know, again, when you're in the military, you do what you're told to do. And so you have that aha moment as you learn and you develop and you have these experiences and you have these shifts in your thought process based on those experiences that help develop your mindset along the way of, why is it that I'm doing what I'm doing? You know, what is my purpose? It gives you a sense of, you know, of purpose when you do have understand it. But at the onset of it, I was like, man. But I mean, it was a learning experience, because all I had to do is like, okay, I was writing on a pad, giving her a pencil and asking her to do a drawing, because I didn't speak her language. And so, you know, I think also that's also helps us as military members be more, have a diversity of thought, right? You don't get to choose what the nationality is of who you get to lead.
Mhm.
And if they, you know, and you don't get to throw them away, right? See, like, I don't want you in my department. I mean, my department. No, you have to find a way to best communicate with them in order to develop them and connect with them. You know, I remember like getting into my feelings and, you know, like, whoo, this child, whoo, oh my goodness. And then I had to think about it. Well, as a leader, I can't throw her away. I have to find out how I can connect. And so in order to be able to connect, you have to get to know what what they know, like, and what they value, what they're passionate about. So you have to have that conversation, right? And I know, you know, as being a prior enlisted and then crossing over, you know, a lot of
Tell everybody what you mean by crossing over.
oh
I was nodding.
you know, going from being enlisted to going into officer instead of going from being, you know, from being a E5 to, you know, being in the khakis. I wasn't a chief, you know, because I never had an opportunity to be a chief. But if I was a chief, I would have been a damn good chief, right? But hey, I just, you know, took the leap of faith and said, okay, let me go over here because financially this is going to help my family out, you know, financially. And I still get to lead, but leading from a different level, even though I know the foundational work that got me to where I was at. You know, it was the Chiefs community that gave me an opportunity to excel. So I realized that. But if the chief is not, or that, you know, wasn't standing up, doing their part, trust and believe, I stepped in. Case in point, here's a story, here it go. Teachable, learnable moment. I'm walking around the clinic and I noticed that there's some creases in the uniform that doesn't require creases, the Cracker Jacks, the dress whites. Well, it's 9 o'clock. You've already had muster. Your chief should have already did a once over on you. And I just wanted to know if boot camp changed the way we doing things. So that's what I asked. You know, are they changing how we wear our uniforms now? Because you got creases in your jumpers. Oh, ma'am, no. You know, cleaning and this, all these, no. You don't get excuses. You don't put creases in your Cracker Jacks. You need to immediately go to the secondhand store on base where the uniforms are and get you another set so that when the other ones are in the cleaners, you have the proper uniform. So, of course, the chief didn't like it. So he comes, you missed your opportunity to do your inspection. It is my right as a leader to not turn the cheek. You missed it at your morning muster. I take pride in my uniform and wearing it. And we should instill that in those that are to follow us and not let them have excuses. So you should have took that sailor chief and got him in the right uniform for the day. So that I enjoy that. I enjoy inspiring and encouraging. So that's just a little story of, you know, like you can't throw them away. You got to develop them.
I'm real curious. Did you start off leading when you were playing basketball? Were you like the captain of the team, or because I'd be shocked if you weren't like at least the assistant captain or the as.
Well, you have to wait your turn. You can't automatically. You know, you have to wait until you're a senior. So yes, but I also was a freshman at college that started on the basketball team as well. You know, I'm the youngest of 4 brothers, and you know, I'm that type that I was out there learning how to change the oil in spark plugs, right? Because one, you know, we've gotten away from that a little bit. Is, you know, if your tire, you have a flat tire, how do you change it? I don't need to just write the paragraph. I need to know how to put the jack in the proper place, and I'm okay with that. with, and so I learned, you know, I wanted to play basketball. My brothers was out there. They had the guys that were out there. There wasn't any girls. So the only way, you know, I was going to be able to play is if I got out there and played with them. Football, flag football. Oh yeah, I'm playing flag football too. You know, like I'm getting roughed up as well. Like until I go in and, you know, I had enough. So leadership, you know, some people say you're born with it, you develop it. I mean, it innately came about, I guess, just because of my personality, you know, who I am. And, you know, I love helping people, inspiring, and I'm very outspoken. So, you know, I guess could be some qualities as well, good and bad, depending. But so yeah, I was student council president, you know, high school homecoming queen. I was told, oh, it must be a popularity contest. I was like, well, I don't know what it was, but I won. Whatever it was, I won.
There you go. No, I was just thinking, because as you're telling the story about, you know, there's no creases in your Cracker Jacks, and the chief missed it. That's that leading up that so many people struggle with, and in business and in life in various ways, that they don't know how to do it. And a lot of people will kind of reel back in well, you know, the boss did this, the boss didn't say that, and they should have, and it'll be, you know, water cooler talk, but they won't ever do anything about it.
I remember once I became an ensign, and I was an ensign at this time, oh, by the way. And you know, the chiefs, they kind of get you know, they want to give, the chiefs are the ones that train the ensigns. I get it. But I wasn't just any regular ensign. I had already had 8 years of prior service that was taught well by some stellar chiefs. So I knew right from wrong. So you couldn't give me some BS, because the chiefs are what groomed me to be where I'm at today. So, you know, of course, the chief didn't like that I disciplined that sailor, because officers aren't supposed to, the chiefs are, right? But you missed it. And I'm not the one that was a coward khaki to turn the cheek and walk by. No, I just asked the question. Did they change the uniform regulations?
It's not your fault he had a bad answer.
Because I hadn't been to boot camp in a while. Maybe they did. So, you know, that was being an ensign at that particular command was a learning ground that questioned whether I even wanted to continue. Because I had some struggles. And because I was in my 20s, you know, they knew where I came from, but, you know, from being one day an E5 to the next day being an O1E, just like that, but, and leading a department of over 50 people. You know, I had the basic requirements in order to do the job. And to me, it's the chief's job to, yes, train me, but not manipulate me. And I wasn't one to be manipulated, because I was trained by some good chiefs. So it was really a struggle, but it was a great foundation that I build on.
I think it really well illustrates the idea that you can, I don't know if it's the proper term, but you can learn up and you can learn down in those type of situations. That if there's somebody below you, that doesn't mean that they don't have anything to teach you. And just because there's someone above you doesn't mean that you can't teach them. You got a whole different perspective on things, and you can bring a lot to the table with what your background is and what your past is and those type of things. And I think that that's a very fundamental thing that a lot of people wind up missing. And that's how you get these leaders who are the positional leaders that just want to talk down and just squish everything down. But those people have so much to teach you. You know, I'll throw out the easy example without even going to one of the tougher ones to think about. I coach lots of rugby. I got my little kids out there, my 6 and 8-year-olds that I go out and coach. They have taught me stuff about rugby. I know that's hard to believe, but they do, because they look at things differently than I do, and they ask questions, and they might sound like stupid questions, but they're not. And you have to be able to open up to all those type of things. Otherwise, you're going to pigeonhole yourself and you're going to lose those kind of useful perspectives. That's the easy exaggerative example, but it goes on every single level of things, I think.
Right. I have this little quote, is that there is a teachable, learnable moment in every situation in life, whether that's what not to do or whether that is what to do. And, you're going to have those people that you want to mimic, and then on the good part, and you want those ones that, I do not want to be like that. So you just have to be observant and be able to absorb what the good things, and there, even if there's, as I look back at, some of the folks that have led me, again, I look for, okay, well, how can I turn this negative into a positive? Like trying to always turn a negative into a positive. And, you mentioned rugby and coaching. I played softball, field hockey, basketball, ran track, you name it. What else? Field hockey.
Any sport they'd let you go out there and play.
Every last one of them was in band, last chair for flute, last chair for clarinet. Just was trying to get out of get out of class for the most part. I didn't want to be in school. So softball, right? Coaching is so different than playing. Like I played softball, but I never coached it. And so I had an opportunity to volunteer, for my daughter doing a rec. She played rec softball, and I was like, oh, this is an opportunity. I just came back off deployment. I want to be her Wonder Woman, if you will. I'm coming back. I'm mommy everything. I'm volunteering for everything, and so I ended up becoming a head coach. I was like, I don't know what to do. So I wrote a letter to every parent and said, look, I'm not getting paid. So at the end of the day, my goal for your little Miss Ma'am is that they will ask you more than often to take them outside to catch, to bat, to hone the skills. Because this is not AAU, this is basic level, right? So that's my goal. So please don't, unless you want to come help me, please don't try to give me, how you have those sideline coaches, right? I have rules. You don't show up on time. The first ones get to go in, and then with rec, then the next ones get to play, because everyone has equal share of play. And again, at the end of the day, if you're a little Miss Ma'am, it increases their passion to ask you to want to do it more often. That is my goal. And so with that is that my desire, my goal, and this is something that I just narrowed down, Otis, and I had a struggle with this, is that I want to, my goal is to help the minority, women, military, and veterans transition from the military with success into entrepreneurship. Instead of owning, I want them to own their table instead of wanting a seat at the table, because the opportunity is there, the resources are there, that it's there. I want to be that. I want to be that navigator, that compass that help you navigate through that process.
I'm curious, how much does that kind of basic coaching philosophy lead into how you work with entrepreneurs now? Because in my opinion, connecting it back to rugby, I think you'll agree with me, Dad. One of the single easiest predictors of success for a high school or even college level athlete is what they do before practice. Their WOWOs, as we always call them, their work-ons. The guys who are out there and they're working, whether it's the guys who pass in a circle aren't going very far. The guys who are working on their technique are the ones who are going to wind up doing really well. And it feeds right into what you were saying, Charmin, that it's that passion, it's that desire to do more and to be better that actually matters way more than how much I'm actually coaching them there. If
Right.
he's passing the ball at home with his little brother, that's going to do way more than I'm probably going to do at practice. So
Right.
I'm really curious, does that translate into your coaching philosophy for entrepreneurs as well?
Yeah, it's all about those success habits, right? With everything, it's consistent. And I'm very transparent, is that like you just have to be, consistent, passion, drive, to be able to get up every morning. Like when I retired, I kind of retired that whole mentality of being fit, right? And as we're, you Cam, you don't have this problem just yet, but it's not as you get old, it's harder to get it off, right? And so those habits of success and that memory, that muscle memory. And so again, as entrepreneurs, we have all that it takes to be successful entrepreneurs through what is cultivated in us in boot camp, officer indoctrination school, and in our academies. And we need to cultivate those habits and keep them. So like now, I've got to get up every morning. I look forward to going on my Peloton in my Peloton Palace. Now there's a motivator. That's the Peloton that's downstairs, right? And being able to go, and no excuses, because guess what? It's in the house. But it's those success habits, consistent success habits, not a lot of, I can talk a good game, but if I'm not putting in the work, then you won't see the actions. Like I always, like my son, he'll be like, Mom, you're always on somebody's diet. And I'm like, it's not, it's healthier eating habits. It's not a diet. It's healthier eating habits. But again, it's constant. It's those success habits that even small steps, and even if you falter, just get back up and start where you left off. Just keep going.
I like how you tied it to muscle memory. Because I think that it took the connection of the woes and the success habits and really put them together for me, because it makes me think of every little thing you're doing as an entrepreneur. Once it starts becoming really a habit, it's that muscle memory. I roll out of bed and I come into my office. I no longer roll out of bed and walk around. What am I going to do today? Just coming into the office is a big step, and it's that muscle memory. And then just like in a sport, if we're teaching how to pass a rugby ball, you start off with your tricep, you start off with your forearm, build up to the tricep, get the shoulder, you build the whole pass up. Same thing happens for your success habits at home. First thing you do is you start waking up on time, then you start going to the office, then you start working at the office, and then you be productive at the office. You can build on that kind of success just like you would in a sport. So I'm just happy because I threw that out there. I wasn't sure how that was going to go, and this might be my new favorite analogy there to tie those two together.
Yeah, it's and I forget which admiral said this. Forgive me, I should know. It's like make your bed. I think he wrote a book called Make Your Bed. Otis.
That was my old boss, Bill McRaven, Admiral Bill McRaven.
Okay, all right. So like he talks about it in his book and in his speech, right? Like
commencement speech at the University of Texas. The other university in Texas, the first one would be Texas A&M University, and the other one, the little school in Austin, is where the admiral was working.
But that concept of like the first thing that you can accomplish in your day is turning around and making your bed, and for me, checking it off of my to-do list. Like, I don't want to touch it twice, right? So you get up, it's like going to the mailbox, right? And you go to the mailbox and then you take the mail out and then you just put it on the counter. And then you got to go back to it and touch it again. How often do we do that instead of taking it out of the mailbox, going to the office, sitting down or wherever you sort your mail, going through it, and then filing it if it needs to be filed. If it needs to be filed to the shredder, shred it. If it needs to be filed in your records, file it. And then you don't have to touch it again. And it's done and it doesn't stack up.
I'm laughing because me and Miss Suzanne had that conversation just the other night.
So I asked the kids, like, why do you want to touch it again? And I mean, if you do it right the first time, whatever that chore is, you don't have to touch it again. But so again, it's, I just, touch it once.
Well, the other thing I like to talk about on that is success breeds success, right? And if you've got something and you look back at your bed and say, damn, that looks good. I made the bed good today. Bing, first win of the day.
Exactly.
And I'm building on that win and continuing on. I mean, that's just a little bit different way of what the Admiral was talking about, but that's the same sense of, I got this done. Now I can move on to this next thing, and I can do that next thing. And then it just builds from there. And that's what's really cool about those habits, those micro habits, those little adjustments that you do. You don't have to take the elephant all at once, right? You just take a little bite off of it and take another one, and you just keep moving forward like that.
Right. So like I didn't get a 45-minute run in. I just got a 20-minute run in, but I was able to get a run in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where my goal may have been every day I'm going to do a 45-minute run, or at least for 3 times a week or whatever. But like you said, when I got up this morning, it felt good because I accomplished one thing. And so now it helps with the momentum of being able to accomplish these other things that I have in order to get to that ultimate goal.
Well, what I want to challenge you with is a philosophical question I just kind of thought up on a whim here, and now I got to find it again. Oh, here it is. I was really proud of it, so I wrote it down. Do you search for leadership opportunities, or do you just look around and boom, there I am? Because, I mean, lady, you're doing a lot, and you are leading in a lot of areas. As an African-American woman in leadership positions in various places, to include your community, I'm just curious, are you like, hey, there's something over there, I want to go get it and lead that and fix it? Or are you just kind of look around and go, hey, this needs to get done. I'm going to take charge.
Ooh, sometimes, Otis, we have to tell ourselves no, because we can be so passionate about helping helping others where it distracts you from reaching your ultimate goal, where you're over here helping everyone else out. So you have to be very strategic with where you're going to give up your time, because we can't get it back. And so I found myself at one point just sitting on a lot of nonprofit boards, helping people with their different visions. And they're all great ones. And I really would love to, right? But then I'm like, man, I have a vision. Daggone it. And it's over here just like growing grass around it, because I haven't been doing what I need to do in order to develop it. And so I have one nonprofit that I sit on, and that is where I give up my time and my talents, unpaid, for free, right? And I have created something that I've put some action into just recently, by the way, last night, matter of fact.
Good job.
I know, right? And I've been talking about this, and it's success after discharge. I've been wanting to make this group, and just thinking too much about things and not getting it out there. And so I'm like, man, I'm just going to make the group. I'm going to put this in here. We'll massage all of this other stuff, and just start inviting people and sharing information. Even though it's success after discharge is for, I've changed it from what it to be. It is for veterans that are transitioning from the military, but it's going to be a space where they'll still be for them, but more so where I can cultivate and develop those minority women, military members and veterans as well. It's going to be all in there. So there's this, are you guys familiar with this new social app called Clubhouse?
No,
Oh.
no.
Wow. It's in a beta stage right now, and it's invitation only for iPhone users currently. And it's like a live, it's live. People are in rooms talking about different topics. And it's a culture of tribe vibing type of environment. So like this morning I was in a room where it's like, hey, how did you start your day? Tell us about how did you start your day? And it was veterans. And so that's a space, Otis knows I'm trying to get, I want to get some minority veterans to test drive my beta program called Passion to Profit. And so in that, I was able to get some people, right? And that's something that, Otis and
I'm celebrating right now because I know that was a frustration just about a month or so ago.
well, the reason why it was frustrating is because I didn't ask, right? Sometimes we get caught up in not wanting to ask for fear of hearing no, but no just means not right now, right? That's all it means, not right now. And so in there, I'm just adding value and inviting to my page, and then, it's a process. So now, hey, go to success after discharge. Yes, I am wanting to work with my ideal client or women or people that look like me. Nothing against anyone else. It's just that's who I resonate with. That's who I can really pierce. Now, if I happen to pierce someone that doesn't meet the demographics, that's okay. I'm willing, look, because the concepts are still the same. This is just who I want to passionately work with, because I know the struggles, because I was in the struggle. So, anyway, I got like 4 people that have joined the group, and I'm doing a room in Clubhouse today talking about the 5 traits of that the military instills in us to be entrepreneurs. It's just a conversation, and again, something that I'm going to be doing more often, sort of like the Otis and Cam show.
The Cam and Otis show.
I'm sorry.
Let's keep that proper. Yeah. We know who's important around here.
Everyone's important.
It was alphabetical. It was only alphabetical. And then I blame that on my wife because I really wanted him to be named Zebulaiah. And
oh wow, that's different.
no, I didn't.
I thought it was Angus.
Yeah. Well, actually, it was Angus, unfortunately. No, that's awesome. But I want to get back. I mean, I love what you told me. And by the way, I'm over here celebrating that.
Thank you.
I'm just so proud of you. But I want to get back to that
leadership.
Yes, ma'am. Because I think that's a really, and asking it of myself too, kind of sort of thing, in the sense of asking you, because there is, do you look for it, or does it find you?
I think it finds me.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I say that is back to, the whole not really spreading myself too thin. But definitely if there's an opportunity to inspire and to teach and to lead and to give information, then it just flows. It's just in me to be able to add that value, to say, hey, do you know about this one? Do you know about this? Do you know about that? Hey, let's talk about this, so I hope I answered your question.
Yeah. And what I imagine, the analogy that, or metaphor, I never can get these right, Camden. And is it an analogy or a metaphor?
Let me hear it, and we'll come back.
Huh?
Let me hear it, and we'll circle back with the grammar.
All right, we'll answer. But the story I want to say, and the way I use that, I use this story a lot, is there's an accident, and there's somebody The first person arrives and they immediately go into first aid and start treating first aid. Next person may arrive and start to do something, but it's not until somebody takes charge of the situation that things start to come together and you work together working together as a team. And that's where I see you. I see you as that person that walks up and says, you may need to still call 911, or you may need to do the compression still. But when you see something like that, you're like, oh, wait, hey, you got to do this. Hey, you get over there and make sure traffic ain't going to run us over while we take, that sort of thing. That's where I see you. I see you walking into an environment and going, that needs to happen, that needs to happen, that needs to happen. And then that action pulls that group, that dysfunction into an organization that moves forward with purpose. So I tossed that out there, a little philosophical. I know.
I'm going to go with analogy on that one, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Camden is the grammar expert because of the beautiful English teacher he had in high school. Beat him with a baseball bat to get that stuff in his head.
Beat me with a volleyball. Come on.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
She's like a 10-time state champion in Colorado. You got to give her that.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's a great analogy, Dad, because it really speaks to how really just the dysfunctionality of a team. I think, because that doesn't just have to be a random happenstance where people are around or there's an accident, something needs to happen. I think you can see the exact same thing in any sort of a team environment where folks are there and they're off doing their own things, and how much you can benefit from just having a leader pointing people in the right direction, getting that division of labor and all those type of things going so things work more efficiently. So yeah, to sneak division of labor in there, right?
I'm going to shift gears because I'm really curious in a current event sort of way. Your son is, I haven't seen him play yet, and I hope to, a good basketball player from what you've told me. Probably pretty darn good basketball player. As a basketball mom in this current, you can't sit in the game and watch. How are you handling that, Mom?
I was pouting at first.
I bet.
I'm not, I'm not the ideal basketball mom, if you will, because I'm not the one out there. Like, I don't know every other child's stats. I only know mine. I don't know their age. I don't know if, AAU basketball is very competitive, and those parents are vicious. I'm just there like, hey.
That's some good hoops being played.
Right? Like, that's it.
For the game.
And so one of the things that I'm blessed to be able to do is watch my son virtually. Mm-hmm. So during this time frame, I would be on the road at least twice a week to be in the stands because my son lives with my husband. And I'm
sorry.
I never heard that.
Well, neither have I.
Okay. And my ex, and so they're 3 hours away, one way. So twice a week, I would be on the road. And so now I don't have to so I was like, man, I gotta pay for this membership to be able to see it virtually. Why can't they just offer it for free? But then I was enlightened. How much would you be spending in gas? How much would you be spending in time on the road? Now you just get the click and you're there. So
sit back and have a glass of wine while you're watching.
Exactly. Right. So even though, he knows that I'm there, me and his dad, I'm texting him like, man, he just choked. Right. So I'm texting, I'm commenting like, dude, like, what did I, and then the benefit is I get a replay. I can get to look at it again on demand. So even though, remember the best turn that negative into a positive. So even though I'm not able to be in the stands, I'm not traveling with him. He missed his AAU, season. We got to look at the positive in this. And one is that, hey, you're still able to play, but it's in a controlled environment. So, and I'm still able to watch, and I'm in a controlled environment. So like today he plays at 4, and I'll be driving up to go get him from Richmond, Virginia, but I'm not gonna miss the game, because guess what? I get to watch it on my smartphone, sitting out in the car, waiting for him to be done. Like, yeah, dude, be able to smack him upside the head when he misses another free throw. Free throws are free. Make them.
There you go. There's a life philosophy right there. Free throws are free.
Free throws are free. Make them.
Oh man.
Well, I think what that illustrates well, if I can, expand that to the bigger picture on things, is really what stands out to me from that is different isn't necessarily worse. It's just different. And I think that's what a lot of people are going through now. And I think we're finally starting to get it, 10 months later, we're finally starting to get it, that things are different, but they're not worse necessarily. They might not be better. They're just different. And I think we as people hate that transitional part of it. But we're kind of getting to that point where we're through the transition phase and we are just getting used to this new stuff, because there's lots of cool things that are coming out of this. Just like being able to watch your son's basketball game virtually. You might not be able to yell at him, but you get to watch, and you get to watch at home with a glass of wine. It's just different.
And not only that, how often do we as athletes want to be on TV? I wasn't on TV, right? He's on YouTube, like he's on the big screen. So now that exposes him to a plethora of other potential opportunities for recruiters to see him live. So again, turn that negative into a positive.
That's right. That's right.
You gotta shift. You gotta have some shit, right? Shifting how I think.
There you go. I was going to get to that. I'm glad you brought that up. But I am also going to point to the shelf back behind me. If you look really close up top, you'll see some VHS tapes. And one of those VHS tapes was Otis playing football in high school. And it's like,
wow.
If I could bronze it and keep it, because, you don't have, we didn't get that kind of stuff.
Nah, not at all. And even from that, so you get like his game the other day, Friday, I think it was YouTube. So I can get that download on YouTube, right? And cut it in iMovie for a display of his efforts, right? A recruiting video. So it's I'm so glad he's able to play. I'm so blessed that he's blessed that he's at a school that is giving the opportunity to be able to be televised. I'm not always able to get all of them, but the majority of them I'm able to watch. So
that's
hey,
awesome.
well, that's pretty cool. I think we could just speak to the volumes of how fun that is as an athlete to be out there and to know you're on TV. Mom's watching a few states over or anything like that. Hell, I was coaching a U of A rugby game this year. We were on TV and y'all were watching up in Colorado. I got new shorts and shoes for that game because I was going to be on TV. It's awesome.
Yeah.
wow.
Well, I want to, what, man, there's like 6 different questions rolling in my head in various different formats, but I'm going to go to my go-to is what's next? You've got this veteran entrepreneur effort. What's next for that, or what's next in another category?
I'm staying in the veteran category. That is the space that there's a need. Not that and that I'm really, really passionate about. And I need to, I want to expand. I want to help more minority women veterans realize their true passion and be able to turn that passion into a profit and be able to if I had someone that was talking to me at 2 years out, 4 years out, saying, hey, what do you want to be when you after service? And it doesn't necessarily have to be in the field that you've served so many years in, or that what are you passionate about? And if money was no object and failure was not an option, what is it that you would be doing? That would have made me think. And oh, by the way, how can I, as your transitional coach, help you get there? And, and we set a plan and we stick to the plan. And you had some of that coaching that was sort of kind of like the boot camp coaching, right? The up downs, like, look, right? I know for me, I was up making sure I was pumping out my push-ups when the drills, when the company commander came around. I was like, oh yeah, let me get it in. So if I had that, how, where could I be? So for me, I want to help more women, minority veterans. The statistics say there's a lot of women that are in the entrepreneur space. However, there's not a lot of women that are scaling their business because of, the network, the resources, and so on and so forth. So that is where I want to help. And so Success After Discharge is that, my Facebook group, and January 11th, I'm having you're hearing this and you want to get in, while it's free, I'm doing a beta test of the Success After Passion to Profit, which you can go to www.passionatetoprofit.me, because the .com was taken. So, we had to pivot because I like it so much.
Number 2 or the
number 2. Yep, the number 2. And sign up. I'm going to change that and sign up for that course. We're going to start January 11th, where I'm just going to pour into you what has been poured into me through the numerous coaching programs that I've been in, and my coaches that have shared with me resources. Like when someone said Avatar, I was thinking they were talking about the movie.
Hey, I'm laughing with you, by the way.
Right. I said, what are your ideal avatar? When someone says, what is your brand? I'm like, I like Calvin Klein. What you like? Right? Or Levi, right? That term, those terms just didn't resonate with me. And how brand consistency, is needed. And oh, by the way, what are the tools that'll help you with that brand? Right? And it's like, well, I just want, at one point I was like, I'll work with anyone who's willing to pay me. But it's not about the money. Right? I'm blessed beyond measures to one, still have a federal job that supports me in my entrepreneurship journey. 2, to be working in a federal job that I'm in, the work that I do, I'm passionate about too. That's a whole different space. And just, and the benefits of being a military veteran that we get, right? So when people talk about, oh, I don't want to go in the military, child, please, the military has done wonders for my life. Wonders. To be able to retire at the age of 40 or 42, and get half of your pension.
Yeah, for life.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know of any other organizations out there that do that. And if it is, please, Charmin N. Rickards for today. And I say that because I got married and my last name is changed. I just haven't announced it yet because the Social Security card has taken so long to come in. So I'm reverting back to my maiden name. But yeah. You didn't know that, huh, Mr. Otis?
No, that means I'll be more confused now.
Well, you could just go with Charmin for TP, toilet paper, and Jacobs for Jacob's Ladder.
There you go. I might remember that. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. But, my goal is to create an agency where I'm coaching and training others that are sitting, that I can develop a bench where when my time is up, that I got other people behind me that can take the place to carry out the mission, to help, and inspire. There's so many people that are homeless. There's so many different avenues we can go in, right? Like homeless shelters, right? So I want to be able to build an empire that makes the revenue where we're able to help more veterans, help them with jobs, create jobs. If entrepreneurship is not their journey, because some people, and I was afraid too, right? And still have to have that positive self-talk that, we have badassery and we can do this. You gotta, like when you playing rugby, right? You gotta boost it up. Like, hey guys, cheer it up. So that is that, and got to dream out loud. And I get that from one of my friends that I have accountability session with, is dream out loud. And so when I do one-on-one coaching, federal resume coaching, it's like, look, dream out loud. Like, just let's not talk about your resume right now. Let's just talk about what you want to do after service. And why aren't you doing it? Now I help you with your federal job, or federal resume, but why not do what you're passionate about? Because so many times, for so many years, you've been told what to wear, where to go, what to eat. Now you can own that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. How do folks get in touch with you? You already said a little bit, but let's put it in a concise.
Well, you can reach me through my email, which is Charmin at veteranentrepreneurbootcamp.com. That's email. And I also have the Success After Discharge Summit. Success After Discharge Facebook group. It's public, and in there I'll be sharing like avatar worksheets and things for, to start, the basics of business, the basic of mindset, like, and the basics of social media, like knowing like how to reach organically to your ideal clients, how to build those relationships. Why is branding important? My goal is to bring on other subject matter experts, because I don't protest to know it all, but I'm a resourcer. There needs to be a character, like a Avenger called the resourcefer.
You just got a cell phone calling up all of his buddies who could do it.
So anyway, they're going to be some, some guests, that again, like I did with Success After Discharge Summit, where I bring on, folks that are in different spaces, sharing their story and giving their success strategies. People need to know that there are other people that are in the same, that have gone down this journey, and that may have not, it didn't happen overnight. But with that, those success habits, whatever they may be, that they too can be successful.
Man, this has been good. This has been real good. I mean, I got some nuggets here that are just in my bucket of what I learned and what I just had fun with. And you know what? I think you're competing with me in the coming up with fun phrases to describe things. So I'm like, all right, we'll have to have a showdown one of these days of fun, philosophical, transitional, whatever you label. See there, I'm coming up with another one right now. Phrases to explain things. I think that's awesome. So with all that said, and me having to pick just that one thing I learned, my favorite is you don't put creases in Cracker Jacks. Now, there's a whole lot going on in that little phrase that, man, I mean, that's a book title. You don't put creases in Cracker Jacks. I mean, that is,
Write that down, Charmin.
that's right. I mean, that's a foot
Don't let him
stomp
steal that.
there. Their petty officer or ensign. But
I used to say that there needs to be a junior officer witness protection program.
there you go. There you
Yeah.
go. So, Charmin, what'd you learn?
I learned that, and that leadership is learned in all different aspects, even in rugby, right? And that it's all about the experiences. We all have different experiences in life, right? But at the end of the day, we can take those experiences and we can mold them into something, into our leadership and how we show up as a leader, whether it's coaching those, the guys in rugby, whether it's, out there doing the work of LTO, or, success after discharge. It's all about our experiences and how we take those experiences in life, creates habits of success in order to help others.
Awesome. So, Camdy, you realize that this time I didn't say anything snide about you going last.
I did. I think folks at home are taking notes.
All right, everybody's taking note. Mom's probably she'll tick that one off and be nice to me when she listens to
You
this
can check it off your to-do list.
That's
Wasn't snarky to Camden this morning.
That's right. So, Cam, what'd you learn?
So I got to throw it out first because I'll never use it again probably, but I loved "wasband." That has me cracking up still. I was about to cry laughing on that one. I had not heard that before, but the takeaway that I will use and apply in my life is how similar the woes from rugby and the success habits of being an entrepreneur are, and how those, just like I was saying for woes, if you're working on your past before a practice, it's a sign that you're going to go far. If you're waking up and you're making your bed every morning, that's a sign you're going to go far. And I think I don't know how it took me that long to put those two together, but they sure sound like they're darn close to the same thing.
Wow.
Well,
Wow.
Charmin, man, this has been awesome. We really appreciate you taking some time out to join us today. Great bits of information. And again, y'all, if you want to get in touch with her, probably the best thing to do is jump in that Facebook group. That's a Success After Discharge Facebook group, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Public.
That's,
Yep.
and if you just jump in there, some of these nuggets that she's tossing out right now in this show, I guarantee you're going to hear them again. Because jump in there and join that and find that path that you're looking for. Charmin, I really appreciate your time today.
No, I appreciate yours. And, one of the things is, success breeds habits. Is that how the saying goes, or habits breed
Success breeds success is what I
But
say.
habits breed success.
But
habits
breeds more
breed
success.
Breeds success too. So yes.
Yeah.
So habits breed success, which breeds more success.
Right.
There you go. There's a show title.
Exponential. We can make a math formula out of that.
Oh, we will.
Yeah. And repetition is good.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Another nugget in there, right?
Yep.
Awesome. Camden, run us out.
All right. Thank you all again for listening to today's show. Special thanks to Charmin Rickards for joining us today, and our sponsors, MASH, Military and Athletic Strength Hemp Oil, and Verbi Virtual Events. You can check out recent episodes of the Cam and Otis Show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, and check out a full archive at thecamandotishow.buzzsprout.com. Cam and Otis Show is on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thanks again, and we'll see y'all next week.